Hello and welcome back to my Big Discussions channel. My name is Dr. Anwar Yusuf Dunbar. I am the founder of this channel. I am also the founder of the Big Words blog site. The information for my blog and all of my social media contact info are on the banner for this channel. Today is July 24th, 2019, and the title of this video is A Plea to Disney and Marvel. So my blog and my channel have education and science and technology and money related focuses, but I do leave room in there for some fun stuff. And since I started the blog, I've written numerous movie reviews. And actually, my brother Amal helped me write a couple of those reviews, specifically the science fiction and superhero related ones. Actually, my brother got me the shirt as well a while ago, the Fantastic Four. And I found this a couple of weeks ago, and I thought I would put this on in a video, and this is the video. So, the idea for this video came to me a couple of days ago. I was watching one of Jada Black's videos. I watch him. I subscribe to him on YouTube. He usually covers celebrity relationships and red pill stuff. And I also saw someone tweet about this topic on Twitter. So I thought when I saw that, it'd be cool to piggyback off them and make a video about this myself. I think that in one of my first videos for my channel, I discussed how comic books were an integral part for me and my brother learning how to read and articulate and even just imagine and think about science and space and other worlds and superheroes and those kinds of things. So we very much grew up on Star Trek and Star Wars and Thundercats and the Transformers and G.I. Joe and Silverhawks and all those different things. And in middle school, we were very much into comic books, and I was a DC guy, and my brother was a Marvel guy. So was my best friend, Gabe. Shout out to Gabe. He was also a Marvel guy, very much a Captain America guy. So I just want to make a quick video about this because, while my channel has these very serious topics, superheroes and science fiction is very much a part of who I am. And I'm working on a creative nonfiction book right now, but I also wrote up a science fiction novel that's sitting away in a box, and I'm hoping I can get back to that at some point. But I'm saying all that to say that science fiction and superheroes are very much a part of who I am. So, this topic, a plea to Marvel and Disney, what's this about? So, the tweet that I saw and Jada Black's video talked about, I think, the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They unveiled who many of their new cast members will be. So we just finished Phase 1, which was the initial Avengers series, and Spider-Man and Black Panther and Thor and Guardians of the Galaxy and those kinds of things. So that was Phase 1. Phase 2, I'm going to be honest, I don't know all the details about Phase 2 other than some of the survivors of Phase 1 will be in Phase 2, and it looks like Blade is going to be in Phase 2. And I know that I think Disney is in the process of acquiring the other franchises like the Fantastic Four and the X-Men, and they want to combine them all into one cinematic universe, which is going to be cool. However, so what's this video about? So it looks like Mahershala Ali I think I said that correctly. I might have said it wrong. But he was in Luke Cage. He was, I can't think of that first villain. He didn't survive the first season, but he was in Luke Cage, and he's been in a lot of movies like Moonlight, and he's been in a bit of everything. I just can't remember anything besides Moonlight and Luke Cage. But he's going to be the new Blade. Wesley Snipes was the original Blade. And so they had this, on Twitter I saw this whole montage of who the new actors and actresses are going to be. So a couple of nights ago, I was watching Avengers Endgame on my Fire Stick. Disney might not like to hear that, the fact that they haven't released it on DVD yet, or Blu-ray, and people are watching it, but it was on my Fire Stick, so I watched it. And as I was watching it, it's probably my third or fourth time seeing it. I guess you could say I felt something, Tony Stark / Iron Man dies at the end of the movie. Captain America retires basically, and he gives his shield to Falcon, played by Anthony Mackie, who I guess is going to become the new Captain America. And so, Black Widow died, obtaining the Soul Stone. These are all spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie yet at this point, that's too bad. But there was a finality to a lot of these characters who I had been seeing over the last 10 to 11 years. And while it was a great movie, I felt something, at the end of the movie. Tony Stark / Iron Man was my favorite character, played by, Robert Downey Jr. And my hope is that in making this video, and I doubt anyone from Marvel or Disney is going to see this video, but my hope is that while the goal is to create a new, progressive, and inclusive franchise in terms of race, culture, and gender, I hope that the writers don't stray away from what made the Avengers movies great. And in my opinion, what made those movies great, in addition to the special effects and all the superhero theatrics, I thought it was the storytelling, the chemistry, and the villains. So I think that, particularly in the group movies, I thought that the writers and the production team really, really nailed those things. So, while it was a big deal for the Black Panther to come out and to have a black character, that was huge. But again, my favorite character was Tony Stark / Iron Man. I saw the first Iron Man movie back in 2008 when it came out. I didn't really know what to expect, and I didn't know what I was seeing when I was seeing it. And for those of you who were born after the 1980s, or maybe before the 1980s, Robert Downey Jr., when I thought of Robert Downey Jr., I thought of him being in a lot of the teen movies. But the movie I thought of him most, I thought about the movie I thought about him most being in was Weird Science, starring Anthony Michael Hall and Kelly LeBrock. And it's about two nerds, and they put the bras on the top of their head, and they make this supermodel come to life who finds them exciting. But that's the movie I remember Robert Downey Jr. being in. And so it took me a moment to buy into him being a superhero and an action hero. Because I was used to him being in those teen movies, and I think he had some drug problems afterwards. And over the course of those 10 years, we watched Tony Stark grow up. He was this petulant, arrogant, cocky playboy, and then over the course of his character arc, he became more mature. He came to a point where he valued things other than himself. He valued the team. He became a family man. Him and Pepper Potts eventually settled down, and they had a child in Avengers Endgame. And so, we were able to watch that character grow up. And it's the way that he fit with the other characters. I had to buy into Chris Evans being Captain America, because my first time seeing Chris Evans on the big screen for me was seeing him play Johnny Storm in the original Fantastic Four series. And I thought he was funny, and I thought that he was a good Johnny Storm, and I thought that's who he was going to be. But he signed on as Captain America, and so it took me a second to say, okay, this is Captain America. And he worked really well in that role. And so they casted the top two members of the Avengers. They hit those out of the park. And it was the chemistry between all the characters, between Tony and Cap. I really loved the chemistry between Tony and Bruce, because they were the two scientists. And then there was the chemistry between Tony and Natasha, who also known as Black Widow, in that first Avengers movie, when Cap is taking on Loki, and Black Widow is kind of hovering in the Quinjet watching the whole thing. All of a sudden you hear Shoot to Kill, or is it Shoot to Thrill, one of those by AC/DC, and Tony makes his entrance in the Iron Man suit in his cocky way, and when Black Widow hears that it's him, she just rolls her eyes like this, like, oh my God, here comes Tony. And it was just the writing and the chemistry between those characters that I think helped make that great. Just the rivalry between the Hulk and Thor, and the way Thor talked, and the way they all just kind of blended together and grew together and grew on one another. And then in Civil War they fell out, then they had to come back together. And I just think that that's what was special about that first Avengers series, in addition to the compelling storylines, many of which were science-based and technology-based. And so I hope that Disney and Marvel, going forward, if they're going to push progressive / social agendas, social justice agendas, I hope they at least stick to what made those first movies great. Often things get ruined. Often things that are successful, the people who create successful things, they forget what made those things successful, and they change them, and they deviate from them, and they alter the formula, and you end up with something different. Some things don't need to be changed. Some things don't need to be altered. Some things don't need to be remade. Thinking about RoboCop and Total Recall, and everything does not need to be altered or remade or changed from what made it great. Star Wars is another one. There have been rumblings that franchise, in an effort to have a female protagonist, for example, it's gotten away from what made the original series great. And we can argue that George Lucas did that as well with the prequels. Um, and the other thing is, and I might alienate some people here, is that, you know, I'm the type of moviegoer who just wants a good story, because we go to the movies, we go to be entertained, oftentimes to forget real life. Kind of like sports. One of the issues with the NFL this last year or 2 years was that it stopped, and I might lose some people here, but it stopped being just about the sport. And many of us indulge in sports and indulge in the NFL and NCAA football and the NBA to help us forget about real life and to forget what's happening in the world, and to unplug for a couple of hours. So I hope that Marvel and Disney remember these things as they go forward, I'm sorry, with phase 2, and I guess if there's going to be a phase 3, or whatever. So that's all I wanted to say. I wanted this video to be short. I've made some long ones. I've got some more cool videos coming, back on some real world topics like money and education and life and some other things. So please like the video. Please share the video. Please subscribe to my channel. And if you have any opinions on what I talked about, please leave those in the description box below. If you want more social justice, more progressive movies talking about every issue and every representing every group of the day, say something about it in the comment box. If you want the movies to stay just as escapes for us, the viewers, go ahead. Please leave that in the description box as well. With that, I will end this video. Always remember that your attitude determines your altitude. And I will see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.